Thank you for choosing our story. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to check out other stories on our channel. From princes and princesses to fairies and detective tales, each story is packed with beautiful lessons about friendship, family, and morals. Now, let's dive into today's exciting story, The Tale of Two Princes. Written by Mukhtar Ahmed, this story is a treasure trove of valuable lessons. All rights reserved. The Tale of Two Princes. By Mukhtar Ahmed. Prince Arjumand was gazing out of the window of his room, lost in thoughts about his sister, Princess Anjuman. A few weeks earlier, she had married a prince from a neighboring kingdom. Since the wedding, she hadn't visited home even once. The queen had sent her several messages through messengers, requesting her to visit, even if just for a day. But the reply always came back that she was still busy with the wedding festivities and would visit as soon as she was free. The king never involved himself in such matters, but upon hearing the princess's response, he laughed and said, "Girls who are happy in their in-laws' homes rarely visit their parents. You were just like that too, my queen, you seldom visited your mother." The queen blushed and replied, "I didn't go because I used to worry, who would take care of you in my absence?" The king laughed again. "Well, that must be why our daughter isn't coming either. She must be thinking the same, if she comes here, who will look after her husband?" Princess Anjuman was Prince Arjumand's younger sister. The bond between them was truly special. They could not live without each other. But girls eventually have to leave their homes, and one day, this prince's sister too left for a distant land after marriage. After her wedding, Prince Arjumand found no joy in anything for many days. But there was nothing he could do, it was all beyond his control. Even now, lost in memories of his sister, he was deep in thought when the queen entered his room. Seeing her, Prince Arjumand stood up respectfully and said, "Mother, why did you trouble yourself? You could have called me." "It's nothing, dear prince. I came because I need a favor from you. Your father brought many gifts for Princess Anjuman from foreign lands, but they're still lying here as she hasn't been able to visit. I was thinking, it would be nice if you could take them to her. You could see her too, and personally deliver everything." "Yes, of course, mother," replied Prince Arjumand. The very next day, the prince set off with the queen's gifts, accompanied by his guards and attendants. After 2 days of travel, they reached their destination. Princess Anjuman was overjoyed to see her brother and warmly welcomed him and his companions. The prince told his sister how much the queen missed her. The princess promised she would visit very soon. After enjoying her hospitality for a couple of days, Prince Arjumand began his journey back home. As they departed, the princess gave valuable gifts to all the attendants and guards who had accompanied her brother. They had set out early in the morning and by the afternoon had covered a good distance. Everyone was tired and hungry from the continuous travel, so they decided to set up camp near a forest. The attendants pitched the tents and began preparing food. They planned to stay there for the night. While everyone was busy, Prince Arjumand felt a desire to explore the surrounding area, not knowing if he would ever return there again. He mounted his horse and said to his companions that he would take a short ride nearby. His guards offered to accompany him, but he declined and went alone. The forest was lush and dense. Prince Arjumand was a brave young man. He wasn't afraid of wild animals, he knew he could face any danger with his dagger and sword. Though he had explored nearly every corner of his kingdom, this was his first time in this place. He was mesmerized by the natural beauty. So captivated was he by the scenery that he didn't realize how far he had gone or where he was anymore. When he finally decided to return, he found himself lost. Just as he was pondering which path to take, he suddenly heard the sound of galloping horses. He became alert, drew his sword, and prepared for anything. But it was of no use. A group of bandits had already surrounded him from all sides. They had bows drawn with arrows aimed straight at him. Leading them was the chief of the bandits. He let out a loud laugh and said, "You look like someone from a wealthy family. Must be carrying a lot of valuables. Come on, hand them over." The prince replied coolly, "I do have wealth, but I don't carry it around with me." The bandit chief turned to his men and said, "His clothes, sword, dagger, and horse, all are valuable. The sword and dagger are studded with diamonds, and the horse is of pure Arabian breed. Even his clothes are royal. Take everything. Dress him in rags and let him go." Prince Arjumand realized that resisting would be useless and only put his life in danger. The bandits took everything from him. But deep in his heart, the prince vowed that once he returned to the palace, he would launch an attack on the bandits' hideout and have them imprisoned. Who knew how many people they had already looted? After taking all his belongings, the robbers gave the prince some old, worn-out clothes to wear and then left him outside the forest. Prince Arjumand had no idea where his companions had set up camp. It was evening, and night was fast approaching. He thought it best to find some shelter first, everything else could wait. Hunger was also beginning to set in. As he walked out of the forest and went a little distance, he saw signs of a village. He headed in that direction. After a short walk, he entered the village. Since night hadn't fully fallen yet, the village was still bustling with activity. As he walked down a narrow alley, he found rows of mud houses on both sides. He had just gone a little further when a small boy came running from the opposite direction. As soon as he saw the prince, he exclaimed in surprise, "Brother Anwar, when did you return from the city?" Without waiting for a reply, he ran to a nearby house and shouted, "Auntie! Auntie! Hurry up! Anwar Bhai has returned from the city." Saying this, the boy dashed away, clearly in a hurry. Hearing the boy's voice, a middle-aged, pleasant-looking woman quickly came to the door. She saw the prince and exclaimed, "Anwar, when did you come? You must be hungry. Come, eat first, I'll hear your story later. Your father has been at the river fishing since morning. He hasn't returned yet." Saying this, she took his hand and brought him into the house by force. Prince Arjumand was bewildered. The woman was mistaking him for her son. To clear up the misunderstanding, he said, "But I am not your son." Upon hearing this, tears welled up in the woman's eyes. "Anwar, I only told you about the river so you wouldn't talk like this. It's true that my husband pulled you from the river when you were drowning as a child, but we raised you. Doesn't that make us your parents?" Hearing this, Prince Arjumand was stunned. The queen had once told him that he had a twin brother. When they were very young, they had gone on a boat ride with the king. The river was rough, and the boat capsized. The king, being a good swimmer, saved Arjumand, but the other boy was swept away. They searched for him for a long time, but he was never found. The queen often wept remembering her lost son. Now, after hearing the woman's words, Arjumand was convinced that Anwar was indeed his long-lost brother, raised lovingly by this woman. He gently held her hand and said, "Dear lady, please don't be upset. I only meant that I am not Anwar. My name is Arjumand. I am the prince of this kingdom. Then he told her his entire story, including what he had learned from the queen about his lost twin brother. When the woman found out that he was a prince and that the boy they had rescued from the river and raised was actually the prince's twin, she was shocked. But the prince comforted her and said, "Mother, you have done us a great favor. We could never repay your kindness. Thank you so much for saving my brother and raising him as your own. My mother and father will be overjoyed and forever grateful. You are wonderful people." The woman respectfully seated him and placed food before him. The prince was indeed very hungry and ate to his heart's content. Just as he finished eating, the fisherman entered with his net and some large fish. Seeing the prince, he exclaimed joyfully, "Anwar, you're back. Now don't leave the village again. There's no rain of gold in the city. City folk are clever, they make one man do the work of 10 and still pay poorly. Stay here and work hard, God will provide. From tomorrow, come fishing with me." And Anwar's mother, "Don't let him leave again. Start planning his wedding so that he settles down with responsibility." The fisherman continued talking, unaware of the reality, while the prince smiled at his words. Then the fisherman's wife hurried to him and whispered, "Please stop. You're speaking without knowing the truth. This isn't our Anwar. It's his twin brother. He is the son of the king. Our Anwar is a prince too." She then told the fisherman the entire story. The fisherman was astonished. Prince Arjumand said, "You both have done us a great service by raising our brother as your son. We can never forget your kindness. My mother will be so happy. She always hoped to find her lost son one day." The fisherman scratched his head and looked at his wife. "I remember scolding Anwar once or twice. I'm afraid he'll go to the palace and complain to the queen." The prince smiled. "You did the right thing. You raised him like a father. If you scolded him, it must have been for his own good. Parents are sometimes strict because they want the best for their children." Hearing this, the fisherman felt happy. When asked, he told the prince that Anwar didn't like going to the river to catch fish. He wanted to do something else and had gone to the city in search of work. He had been gone for about 2.5 months. Whenever Khalil, the village messenger, went to the city, Anwar would send money back with him for his parents. They continued talking late into the night until they were too sleepy and went to bed. The next morning, Prince Arjumand was awakened by the noise outside. The fisherman's wife was already awake and preparing breakfast. Curious about the noise, the prince got up and looked out the window. A smile spread across his lips. He saw soldiers on horseback. They had reached the village in search of him. He stepped outside and revealed himself. The soldiers were overjoyed to find him. They had been worried about what answer they'd give the king if they failed to locate the prince. Prince Arjumand told them that he would stay at this house for another day or two before returning. Then he ordered the soldiers to spread out in the forest and find the robbers who had looted him the day before. They had likely robbed many other innocent people too. Once the soldiers left, the prince asked the fishermen to find a way to bring Anwar home as soon as possible. The fisherman immediately went to Khalil, the messenger, placed 50 silver coins in his hand, and said, "Brother Khalil, please go to the city now and bring Anwar back with you." For Khalil, it was a large sum. Happily, he prepared his horse and left for the city. Before sunset, he returned with Anwar. Anwar was confused about why his father had called him back in such a hurry. When he asked Khalil, the messenger just said, "How would I know? Maybe it's about your wedding." When Anwar reached home, he was shocked to see Prince Arjumand. They looked exactly alike. He stared at the fisherman in confusion, then turned to his mother. Her eyes were filled with tears. He rushed to her and asked, "Mother, why are you crying? And who is this man who looks exactly like me?" The fisherwoman said, "My child, now you will leave us. You are a prince. Your brother has come to take you." She had already told him before that she had found him in the river, but Anwar was just now discovering that he was a prince. He hugged his brother and turned to the fisherwoman. "Why are you sad?" he asked. "If I leave, I won't go alone. Both of you will come with me." The next day, royal soldiers spread out across the entire forest. They searched every corner and finally succeeded in locating the bandits. After a fierce encounter, they managed to arrest all of them. The bandits, now shackled in chains, were brought before Prince Arjumand. When Prince Arjumand saw the bandits, he was very pleased. He addressed their leader, "You people have committed great cruelties against God's creation. Now the judge will decide your fate." He then ordered everyone to return to the palace. The fisherman and the fisherwoman accompanied them. When they reached the palace, Prince Arjumand stayed behind while Anwar walked ahead. Coincidentally, just a little while earlier, Princess Anjuman had also arrived at the palace with her husband to visit her mother. When Prince Arjumand had met her, he had told her how much the queen missed her. As soon as she saw Anwar, she ran and hugged him. Anwar was startled and said, "Princess, please step back. I'm Anwar. Prince Arjumand is coming behind me." Before the princess could even process his words, Prince Arjumand arrived. She let out a scream of surprise. She looked from Anwar to Arjumand and back again in utter disbelief. Hearing her scream, the king, queen, and her husband all came running. When they saw the two identical young men, they were astonished and confused. Prince Arjumand quickly told them the entire story. When he finished, the queen rushed forward, embraced her long-lost son, and wept. "I always believed that one day, my son would return to me." Seeing this emotional scene, tears welled up in everyone's eyes. The king also stepped forward and embraced Anwar. Both the king and queen thanked the fishermen and fisherwomen sincerely and showered them with gifts. A little while later, the fisherwoman took the fisherman's hand and began walking toward the door. Seeing this, Anwar said, "Mother, where are you taking father?" She replied, "My son, we must go. The house is empty, and in the morning your father, he has to go to the river to catch fish." "No," Anwar said, wrapping his arms around her neck. "You will stay here with us in the palace. If you don't, then I won't either. I'll leave with you. You raised me like your own son, so I consider you my real parents." Hearing this, the fisherman made an excuse, "But son, if we stay here, who will catch the fish?" At that, the king intervened. "Let someone else catch the fish. Don't worry about that. Anwar is right. You will live with us. You saved him from the river and raised him as your own. We will not let you go anywhere. If you leave, our son will be heartbroken, and we cannot allow that." Hearing the king's words, the couple could no longer refuse. Seeing their agreement, Anwar joyfully picked up the fisherwoman in his arms and said, My mother is the best." Everyone smiled at his laugh. With Anwar's sudden return, joy spread throughout the kingdom. The queen, in particular, was overjoyed. Her son, whom she had lost years ago, had finally come back. Princess Arjumand, too, was delighted. Now she had two brothers, and they both looked exactly the same. After all the excitement settled down, the case of the forest bandits was brought before the judge. The judge ordered an announcement. All those who had been robbed by the bandits should come to court and testify. These were ruthless bandits who had made the forest their hideout for years and regularly robbed innocent travelers. In response to the announcement, hundreds of people came forward to give testimony, including Prince Arjumand himself. Based on the evidence, the judge sentenced all the bandits to prison. All the stolen goods recovered from them were returned to their rightful owners. Prince Arjumand also received back his dagger, sword, clothing, and horse.